Fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. If you want it, come and get some. Because we love wisdom. Because we love wisdom.
People in every part of the globe are perishing because the judgment is low. From children to teens to elderly folks, this epidemic is incredibly bold. Wisdom is needed to see through the fog. Without it, we'll stumble and see to the long. You're jumping without something to break and fall if you choose to ignore it's a beckoning call. The only people who will lose the war are those who don't know who they're fighting for. You are the only one who can decide your fate. Don't waste your life when you can live inside a race. If we turn to God and behold the shining face, we will gain traction to run in this human race.
Hey, what's going on? JC Johnson here for The Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about the wisdom of symbolism, and I think that's fitting for the holiday.
Fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. If you want it, come and get some. Because we love wisdom. Because we love wisdom.
All right, what's going on? JC Johnson here for The Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. And we took a little bit of a break, but we are back. And, we're in season 2 of the show. In the last season, we discussed a lot of topics. And, I appreciate the love that's been shown, the support and interest in the topics that we've been discussing. If you're new to the show, you can always go back and listen to past episodes on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere where podcasts can be downloaded. So, today we are discussing symbolism, and I think that's fitting for the holiday season. We had Thanksgiving, then Christmas. We're creeping up on New Year's just in a few days, and there's a lot going on. There's some things that I'm excited to share with you, so I'm looking forward to doing that today. So, real quick though, before all that, the theme verse of this show is taken from Psalm 90 verse 12, and it says, "Teach us to number our days carefully so that we may develop wisdom in our hearts." All right, and that's from the Christian Standard Bible. It's a pretty good translation there, especially for that verse. Teach us to number our days carefully so that we may develop wisdom in our hearts. And that's what this show is about. It's called For the Love of Wisdom. So, of course, this verse is fitting. But why? Why? What does this have to do with wisdom? All right. What does this have to do with the show? If you look at the original meaning of the word philosophy, which this show is one on philosophy, can be categorized like that. And for the word philosophy comes from the Greek root words philo, which means love, and sophos or sophia, which means wisdom. And wisdom, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, means the ability to discern inner qualities and relationships. It's the ability to have insight into all these matters of life. And it's also, it means to have good sense or judgment. And also, wisdom is the quality of having experience, knowledge, and good judgment. So when we talk about loving wisdom, we're talking about loving experience, knowledge, and good judgment, and the ability to do so. Now, in this series, in season 2 of the show, all of our show titles end with an ism. In the first season, if you heard it, all the show titles ended with the suffix ity. So we talked about humility, we talked about, mortality, immortality, we talked about eternity, we talked about pretty much every ity that you could think of, community, all of that. So that was a pretty good season. We discussed a lot, and now we're, keeping it going with the isms this time instead of the itys. And the word ism, it basically is a distinction, practice, system, or philosophy, typically a political ideology or an artistic movement. So that's what we mean when we put the 3 letters ism at the end of a word. So it comes from the Greek word ismos, and then later the French isme, and then what we know it as now in English, in contemporary English, as ism or ism. In Spanish, it's also ismo, like Cristianismo or isma. And those also come from Latin and Greek roots. So the last time we discussed the wisdom of indigenism, we were talking about how the Native Americans are just that, native to this country. They are the true Americans, the people who were here before anyone else was here. And we talked about that in relation to Thanksgiving, because there is some ill feeling sometimes towards that holiday because of the roots, where it came from. One thing that's really interesting, we were looking at a book last time, An Indigenous People's History of the United States, and one thing that really stood out to me that they were discussing, and it hit home to me, was they were discussing Redskins. And I'm from Washington D.C., and so any talk about the Redskins definitely gets my attention. And one thing that was mentioned is that during this time period, the time that the Puritans, the Pilgrims, the original colonists first came to the Americas, something that happened was they would actually they would hunt down some of the Native Americans, and they would scalp them, right? And scalping, is basically removing the top of somebody's head. And they would do this, I guess, as a way to make a point, trying to make a statement, maybe to strike fear in the hearts of others around them, just to let them know that they weren't to be messed with. So they would scalp them, and this was called, these scalpings were actually called Redskins. Okay, and that's the reason why there's an issue even with the football team, the Washington Redskins. Back when I was growing up, I remember back in the 90s, there was a movement to have the name of the Redskins changed and also have their mascot changed, just because of just that harshness associated with it, and just the negative feelings that a lot of people had because of it. And I don't know what happened with that. It seems like nothing really came of that, because they're still the Redskins and they still got that same guy on the helmet. So I really don't know what happened with that, but it is problematic. Just like there's symbols of African Americans from back in the day of there's like the stereotypical picture of you see a young black kid eating a big watermelon with a huge smile, and those kind of things, different stereotypes. People have a problem with that, and I'm sure people would have a problem if there was something like that as the mascot of a sports team, or something that you could see on somebody's helmet, right, of a young black guy eating this big watermelon. People would have a big problem with that. So I don't know why there's not that same outcry when it comes to Native Americans, but it's the same thing. But we talked about that last time. I think it was a pretty good conversation. There was a lot that came up, a lot of interaction on social media as well, because this topic is a touchy one. And, I don't bring it up to make people feel bad or anything like that, especially during the holiday season. But I think it is important to discuss these things so that we can, deal with it. If we don't deal with these things, then we'll never be able to move on from them. They'll always be in the background, haunting us like ghosts. And we don't want that. We want to be able to move forward in life and not have this kind of stuff as a shadow hanging over our heads. So this country, there's a lot of history that is shady and that makes people uncomfortable, yet a lot of it is swept under the rug because nobody wants to talk about stuff that makes you feel uncomfortable. It's not cool. Sometimes it's not even politically correct to speak truth about certain topics, but I think that we do need to open our minds, open our hearts, and especially when people are being affected by these things in a negative way, I think that we do have to have compassion. We need to be able to have an understanding mind to say, okay, I understand why this person has a problem with this particular holiday, or I understand why they may not like this shirt that I'm wearing, or they don't like this football team that I'm rooting for. So that's, if you want to hear that, we're going to be posting that episode soon. The second season is not yet available, but it's going to be available come the beginning of January. So be on the lookout for that. January 1st, you'll be able to hear season 2 of For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. We got plenty of episodes, indigenism, as well as about 4 other isms before today. So, today we are discussing symbolism, and we're going to get into that a little bit more. But, first we're going to listen to some music and just relax. So you're listening to North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you. All right, what's going on? JC Johnson here, For the Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets. We are back, and today we're discussing the wisdom of symbolism, right? And we're going to be getting into that in just a second, but I'm really excited to share something with you. So before we get into that topic, again, we're in season 2 of For the Love of Wisdom, and we've had we got a few episodes that are going to be made available soon on iTunes. Right now, it's just season 1 that's on there, but come January, we're going to actually be releasing season 2, so be on the lookout for that. You'll be able to check it out on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, pretty much everywhere where podcasts can be downloaded and listened to. So before we get into symbolism, I just wanted to share that on January 1st, along with season 2 of this show, I'm actually going to be releasing my first book, and it's called The 40-Day Fire, Burning Away All That Does Not Resemble Your Destiny. And basically, this is a book that I've been working on pretty much for the majority of 2018, just putting the concept together, and it's stylized as a 40-day journey. Basically, it's a 40-day journey intended to light a fire underneath you, literally, right? So for anyone who maybe is procrastinating, for those people who are saying, man, I will do this one day, but maybe now is not the time for whatever reason, or just for those people who are sick and tired of their current circumstances, and they say, you know what? This is the push that I need because I'm ready to make something happen. I'm ready to have a change in my life, right? So for anyone who's like that, definitely this is the book that I think you'll find to be pretty good. From time to time, all of us need a little bit of a push, and the book will sometimes make you laugh. Other times it's gonna really give you a kick in the pants just to help you stay on course. So it's stylized as a 40-day devotional. So each day for 40 days, you'll have a different topic, something that is related to overall accomplishing your dreams and basically getting rid of any obstacle that may be standing in your way, anything that could be hindering you from accomplishing that. And, life, no matter, how long a person has to live it, is short. And every human being has a purpose to fulfill in this life. But sometimes distractions, they can come at us a mile a minute. It makes it difficult for us to stay focused and stay motivated. So the good thing about the 40-Day Fire basically is that it's going to help you to keep your heart and your mind in line with who God created you to be and with the vision that he's given to you and only to you to fulfill. So in short, that's pretty much what the book is about. I'm excited about it. It's going to be available in all formats, paperback, hardback, ebook as well. There's going to be an audiobook edition that's going to be coming out in January also, so be on the lookout for that. You'll be able to get those soon to really kick off the new year well, and that's the intention of the book. It's so that people can start out their new year right, because you know how it is when you have your resolutions, you have all these things that you plan to do for the new year, and sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes we have roadblocks in our way that make it difficult for us to do that. But the purpose of this is to say, all right, No more excuses, no more procrastinating, no more, saying I'm not capable, or I'm not smart enough, or I don't have enough cash, or whatever the reason is that you're not living out your dreams and walking in your destiny. This book is basically saying that there's no excuse, there's no reason why you shouldn't, because this is what you were created to do. You're put on earth for a reason, and there's certain things that are inside of you that can't be found in other people. And the reason for that is because there's only one you. You're the only you that exists. There's people who are similar to you. Like if you have a twin, your twin may look just like you, but there's still some differences. Maybe there's a freckle that's different, or, your hair goes this way and your twin's hair goes that way, or, whatever. Maybe one of you is right-handed or left-handed or anything like that. There's always going to be some distinction, and your DNA is not identical. It's very similar, but it's not 100% identical, because every single person is unique. So that's what this book is about. It's basically just encouraging you to tap into that uniqueness and to say, it's important for me to be able to really stand out in this life, to live the life that God wants me to live, because there is a reason. There is a reason why you are where you are. And people are either going to know that in this life, or they're not going to know it. And the only way that they're going to know it is if you let them know about it, right? So we're on Instagram Live now. Just a quick recap, for those of you who are just joining. Right now we're discussing my new book that's going to be coming out on January 1st. It's called The 40-Day Fire, Burning Away All That Does Not Resemble Your Destiny. And it's a 40-day devotional, and it's basically meant to literally and figuratively give you a kick in the pants, right? Just to be able to say, it's time to stop procrastinating. It's time to stop putting off whatever your dream is, and it's time to start living it. And really, what I'm asking people to do with this book is one simple thing. Basically, it's just to make a small sacrifice now that can have a major impact on the remaining portion of your life. And so by that, I mean that if you make the sacrifice of getting things in order, saying, I need to make some changes. I need to maybe start believing more in myself and my capabilities and my gifts, and really start walking in line with the vision I have for my life, and not the vision that other people have for my life, right? So it's a 40-day challenge, really, to challenge yourself to burn away anything in your life that doesn't resemble your destiny. And by that, meaning that you have countless obstacles, enemies, mental roadblocks, you have challenges of faith, and all of these enemies can really threaten your potential success in life. So, the question that I ask in the book is, what does your potential future look like to you? If you can imagine the life that you're destined to live, does it look like the life that you're living now, or is it completely different? And I'm not, referring to how many material possessions that you can accumulate in this life, things like that. But I'm more so talking about, living purposefully, living a life that you're not ashamed of, living a life where you can say, I'm exactly where I need to be. It's something significant. We're talking about a purpose that only you have, only you can fulfill. And every decision that you make in life ultimately is going to reveal what your destiny is. And so I ask, what is destiny? And if you look at the prefix of that word, destiny is related to the word destination. You see, it sounds just like it, right? Your destiny is wherever you are destined to be. So if you make great decisions, then you're going to be destined for greatness. If you make foolish choices, you're going to be destined for a fool's reward. And that's something that I said in the introduction of the book, but it's true. It's definitely true. You have to set yourself up in the right way. And so that's what this is about. It's not about perfection. So I say that too in the book. If that were the case, then I would be doomed, because I'm definitely imperfect. I've made a lot of poor choices in life, But that's the point of, life. That's the point of living. That's the point of growing and learning, so that you don't have to stay in the same place. Triple E has a song. He said, I gotta grow. Can't stay in the same place, right? I gotta grow. And that's what this is about. It's about mistakes, but you know what? It's time to, dust your knees off, get the dirt off your shoulder, whatever. And it's time to no longer let those things that happened in your past hinder you from the great things ahead of you in the future. So that's what this book is about. So you'll be able to get that everywhere that books are sold, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, anywhere. So be on the lookout for that. It's called The 40-Day Fire, Burning Away All That Does Not Resemble Your Destiny. And it's by me, the author, Jason C. Johnson Sr. And we'll be right back after this. You're listening on North Coast Underground, where the underground starts with you. Hey, what's going on? JC Johnson here for The Love of Wisdom, where philosophy meets the streets, and we are back. Right now, we are discussing the wisdom of symbolism, and I'm going to be getting into that very soon. I appreciate you for tuning in. A couple things we're mentioning before we get into the topic at hand. Again, we have some books that are going to be coming out January 1st. And I just shared one, which is my book. That one's called The 40-Day Fire, Burning Away All That Does Not Resemble Your Destiny. I was just sharing a couple things about the book, but one of those things is basically that, in life is not about being perfect. Life is not about having it all together. Life really is about making the most of every opportunity that you have. And even though you stumble sometimes, you make mistakes along the way, the idea is that you're not going to stay there forever. So we all make mistakes, but if you're intentional about your life having meaning, then it will. Your purpose is the reason that God created you, and it's only by making wise choices and relying upon God for wisdom that we can see through the fog and burn away the dross at all costs. So that's what the 40-Day Fire is all about. And so again, that's available January 1st. Also available on January 1st is a workbook called Just Do It, right? It's a 10-day mental detox. And that one is written by my wife, actually, Tiffany Johnson. It's a great workbook. It's just the right size. It's not too lengthy. It gets straight to the point, and it literally is exactly what it says, a 10-day mental detox. And it's all about really getting your mind in the best state of mind to be able to focus on what really matters. Each day is kicked off with a different scripture, one that relates to the topic, and there's several good topics. There's one on social media, and I thought that one was really good because it just talks about how we can put too much into that. We can focus too much on social media and who's liking our posts and what other people are doing in their lives, and sometimes we can focus so much on that we don't focus on our own lives. And so sometimes we do need to take a break from it. Now social media, of course, is a great thing, but it can be a distraction too. So that's just one of the things that stood out to me in the book. And basically what this book is about is, Tiffany is sharing her essential strategies to remain mentally sharp, just maintaining a sharp mind. That's what it's about. And really, Tiffany has overcome many different obstacles in her life, and she was able to do that by putting into practice what she shares in the book, basically by practicing mental detoxes on a regular basis. And we think of detox, and oftentimes when we think of detox, we think about like if a person is detoxing from drugs, right, or alcohol, maybe somebody who's in rehab. When someone is in rehab, they're in a place of detox, right? And so basically with this book, it's saying that And instead of, detoxing from maybe drugs or alcohol or any kind of substance abuse, we're talking about a detox in the mind, because the mind can be cluttered with so much stuff. Life throws stuff at us all the time. And if we dwell on it, if we meditate on it too much, it can drive us crazy, and it can cause us to not focus on what truly matters, what's really important, those things that are positive and beneficial for us. So, Tiffany shares how, in the midst of many struggles that she went through in her life as a child and even as a young adult, a lot of difficult circumstances that she experienced, instead of allowing a trying time to define her future, what she did is she began to exercise. She began to exercise mentally, physically, and spiritually. And she actually put out another book in 2017, and it's called A Mother's Bodybuilding Competition Guide. And in that book, she talked about her physical journey to reach optimal physical health, basically by competing as an NPC competitor in a bikini bodybuilding competition. And that was exciting to see. She worked really hard to get there. There was a lot of training, a lot of a certain diet that she had to have for several months. And I know towards the end of it, it was a little bit difficult, but she hung in there. That was an inspiration not only to me, but even to our oldest daughter at the time, who she was excited just to see her mother compete, and she would even try to emulate her and try to do the poses that she was doing and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. So that was just something that was really, I think for her, it was a positive way to deal with a lot of the different mental stresses that came in her life before that time period. It gave her something positive to focus on, and it was not only good for her, but it inspired people around her as well. And so she wrote a book, about that experience, A Mother's Bodybuilding Competition Guide, and she shared her journey, and she basically is saying to other mothers, maybe who are in similar circumstances, that they can actually accomplish the same thing. So I thought it was really good the way that she did it, and you can check that out at any time. All you have to do is just look that up on Amazon. So you can get that one, and you can also get her next book, Just Do It, a 10-day mental detox. And that's going to be coming out January 1st. So look out for both of those books, Just Do It, a 10-day mental detox, as well as The 40-Day Fire, Burning Away All That Does Not Resemble Your Destiny. That's for me. Both of those are going to be coming out as a publication under One Plan Media, LLC. So just be on the lookout. And we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to really dive into the topic of symbolism.
The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom.